Mheshimiwa Naibu Rais, na kwa heshima kuu sasa, mabibi na mabwana, ningeomba tuendelee na wimbo wa taifa studio.
Mungu nguvu yetu, ilete baraka kwetu, haki iwe ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na udugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi. Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Asante studio. Tunaposalia kusimama, ningeomba Faith Karimi ambaye ni mshirika mwenza na mkulima katika sekta ya kahawa kutuongoza kwa maombi. Karibu Be Faith.
God's blessing upon each one of us. Let us honor our Father and our God. Our Father and our God, we bless you this great moment and this great morning. We thank you even for the day that you have blessed us with. We thank you even for the love and the life that you have bestowed upon each one of us. We thank you for the great leadership that you have bestowed upon this country. We thank you for this very great subsector, the coffee reforms. And we pray that, God, you're going to be with us in this meeting. We are seeking the Holy Spirit to be upon each one of us, to be upon each and every person that has been given the opportunity by you, God, to be a participant in this coffee reform summit. We invite your presence. We invite your Holy Spirit. We invite you, Lord, that you are going to give us the strategic direction, and that, Father, after this meeting, the coffee subsector is going to grow to greater heights. We are going to see satisfaction. We are going to see revenue coming to this country. We are going to see the coffee growing family coming to see the fruition of this great crop that you have blessed upon us. I cannot forget to thank you even for the great leadership under the leadership of the Deputy President of this Republic of Kenya for taking this initiative of reviving the coffee sector. How we bless his life, and we pray that, God, you're going to continue giving him and ordering his steps in the paths of righteousness for the glory and honor of your great name. We seek that you're going to start with us, be with us through the meeting. Even when we come to the end of the meeting, we'll have the reasons to glorify you, and we also glorify you for combining our minds and our spirit in one accord that cannot be broken. I am praying this in humbleness and believing that, Father, you are with us and you are going to grant us success. I pray this trusting and believing in the Holy Spirit and our Lord Jesus Christ and our Savior. Amen.
Thank you, Madam Faith. Your Excellency, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, with your kind permission, sir, may we all be seated. Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, all Cabinet Secretaries present here, Principal Secretaries, Chief Administrative Secretary, all Excellency Governors, County Executive Members, CECs, all stakeholders and farmers in the coffee sector, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, sir, it is indeed a great pleasure to have this inaugural coffee conference, indeed a first of its kind, an initiative that is going to bolster the opportunities of many stakeholders in the coffee sector and consequently the entire country and the economy. Your Excellency, sir, I wish at this juncture, if you deem it right, that I may invite the area member of parliament, Mheshimiwa Rahim Abdul Dawood, so that he can give his remarks. Mheshimiwa, karibu.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, our Honorable Minister for Agriculture, CS Mithika Linturi, our Governor, all the other governors who are here, our Senator, the Deputy Speaker of the Senate, together with all the senators who are here, all members of Parliament, all PSCs, and all invited delegates. Bwana asifiwe. Bwana asifiwe. Unajua tuna baridi sana leo. Assalamu alaikum. Mine is to welcome each and every one of you. Today is a historic day that we are coming here to revive the black gold of the 1970s. We were very good in the 70s with coffee. Unfortunately, we went down. But hopefully, with His Excellency's blessings, we should revive the coffee industry the way it should have been and the way it will be in future. Your Excellency, I hope at the end of this conference today and tomorrow, we will have rooted out the cartels which are in this coffee sector so that we can go forward. With that, let me invite my chairman of Meru Parliamentary Group, who will recognize all the MPs, Mheshimiwa Rindi Kiri, and I would request him to ask the Meru MPs first to stand in their place. We do not have the luxury of time, so please, Mheshimiwa.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, our CSs, Mithika Linturi and Bwana Chelugui, our Governor, and the other colleagues, governors, the Chairman of UDA, Madam Governor Cecily Mbalile, the Senators, the PSCs, the Members of Parliament, the great farmers who are here. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I've been given a very simple task of introducing our members of Parliament. Indeed, there are so many members of Parliament who are here because we want to be part of this process. We are here because we want to look for a solution to the problem facing the sector. And as members of Parliament, we believe that we have a serious role to play in the whole process. And that's why we join you, Your Excellency, and we can assure you that we will support this sector by all means. We know there are challenges, and I'm sure by the end of today, we will have come up with a solution because we know some of the problems. So we'll join you, and let me ask the members of Parliament from Meru, please to stand whenever you are. Your Excellency, Meru is full house, apart from Dan Kele, who's is in hospital with the kids, but all of us, we are here, and we feel honored for you to have blessed us with this first conference to be in our great county of Meru. We have Mheshimiwa Kerima Gushine, Imenti Central. We have our Women Lab, Elizabeth Kairemia. We have Mr. Julius Taitumu, Egembe North. We have John Paul, Egembe South. We have Dr. Shadrach Mweti, Imenti South. We have Mpolo Abori, Tigania East. We have Madam Modoni, our nominated MP. We are still waiting for the Chairman of Agriculture. He is held up somewhere, but he is part of this process. Wherever he is preparing so that he can join us. On the same token, let me ask all the members of Parliament from other areas, please to stand. Your Excellency, you can see we have all come here. This is Mr. Palashina from Kajiado South. We have Madam Human Lab of Lamu, Modoni, Kadera. Kaidera. We have Mr. Gitari from Kirinyaga. We have the human lab of Kirinyaga, Gasheri. We have Murugara from Laraka. We have my friend from Tetu, Wandeto. We have Mukurueni 1, Mr. Kagushia. We have the senior most Malim. We have Wamaua from Malagua. We have the chairman of education, Meli. We have Mr. Gishimo, all the way from Kirinyaga. We have Kapod, all the way from Mount Elgon. We have Mr. Kalani from Laikipia. We have Mama Embu, Madam Joki. So asante sana, Your Excellency, karibu sana. Hapa ni kwako. Sisi tunaambatana na wewe, hapa kwa hapa, mpaka hii kahawa, ikuwe sawa. And I'm sure through your wise counsel, you have stood with us, you made a lot of pledges during our campaigns, and I'm happy that you have started implementing what you said. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Now I'd like to, with your permission, Your Excellency, to call the Deputy Speaker of the Senate to introduce the senators with only a few remarks. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Cabinet Ministers who are present, PSs, governors, and the assistant deputy governors. I'm here this morning as a very happy legislator. Your Excellency, we have come very far with trying to do coffee reforms. Lakini tulikuwa tunakwama kila wakati. Tangu mimi niingie bunge 2013, we have been trying to revive our coffee, our tea, or our agriculture, but we have been failing. Your Excellency, I'm very happy that you are now on the steering wheel. Na kama kuna cartel wako kwa hii nyumba wa kahawa, tafadhali leo ndio utahama, sababu mkubwa wako hapa na yeye ndiye amekuja kung'oa cartel kwa kahawa na majani chai kila mahali. Your Excellency, cartels are in this room. Let me assure you, they are here. They are part of this conference. But sababu wewe najua Mungu amekupea macho kubwa ile inaona kuliko sisi, wewe utawamulika tu na utaambia moja moja amuke ukiondoka, sababu sasa tunaenda kutengeneza kahawa. Your Excellency, we will be behind you fully, in and out of Parliament. Personally in the Senate, I can see my colleagues are here who are very determined to make sure that we succeed as a government. And with us as your foot soldiers, usijali, ile kitu yote utaleta kwa bunge ya Senate, kwa bunge ya National Assembly, I want to assure you, hiyo itakuwa inapita, hata tunaweka question kabla tuingie kwa bunge, tunapitisha kila kitu. Na wabunge ama namna gani wabunge? Si namna hiyo? So, Your Excellency, because I know I don't have a fraction of time, my name is Kaduri Murungi, the Meru Senator, and then Deputy Speaker of the Senate. Thank you, Excellency, for also giving us that position. We owe a lot of respect to you. I'm here with my colleagues who are in request kindly to stand up. I can see I have colleague senators kindly. And Your Excellency, these are not mere senators. They are actually chairs of committees. I have the Senator for Nyeri, Honorable Matinga, is the chair energy. Mr. Murango from Kirinyaga is the chair agriculture. This story tunaongea hapa. Mwenda Gataya from Dharakanidhi is the chair delegated registration. Anything that needs to be in these reforms, tuko na chairman wa delegated registration. Pia pale tuna Mundigi ambaye anameshikilia pia committee on agriculture very well from Embu. And then we have a veteran, my friend Kenywa Commissioner wa Parliamentary Service Commission from Laikipia. So injeshi yote, Your Excellency, si tuko nyuma yako na Rais mpendwa William Samoei Ruto, na kila wakati tuko tayari 100% kupambana na umaskini na tuendeleze Kenya mbele. Asante sana. hata ingine inaitwa housing, the 3% housing, and also the finance bill. I want to assure you that because we were part of you in the campaigns, we will also stand with you, not because you know where you want to take us as a country. So we will support you in whatever that comes to our housing. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Your Excellency, I just want to recognize our former governor, Mheshimiwa Kiraito Muronge. He has just walked in. Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Your Excellency, we've got one of the biggest coffee farmers in Meru called Charles Mukarimu. He is there. I would want him later to come and greet you. He is one of our biggest coffee farmers, and he knows a lot about coffee. I wish he can be given time later to say something. With that, I want to assure you, Your Excellency, my chairman maybe forgot to say, we as the Meru Parliamentary Group, we are joining you in the finance bill, na tumesema itapita, wakipenda, wasipende. Mungu awabariki. Let me now invite our governor, Mheshimiwa Kawera. She will introduce her MCAs. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, mawaziri wote, governors present, members of parliament, senators, MCS wetu, serikali ya Meru County, wakulima wote, mugeni, Bwana asifiwe. Nisalimie hapo hewani kama unanisikia vizuri. Naitwa Bishop Kawira Mwangaza. Napenda kuwakaribisha. Na kabla sijawakaribisha, ningependa kutambua governors wenzangu ambao wako hapa, wasimame wote. Na pia I invite our whip governor wa Nandi so that he can do introduction to my fellow governors and also give apologies for Mudhomi Njoki and any other governor. Karibu sana whip.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Governor Bishop Kawera. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Excellency Governors, colleagues, ministers ambao wako hapa, members of Parliament, both Senate and National Assembly, our members of the County Assembly, our coffee stakeholders, good morning. On behalf of Your Excellency, on behalf of the Council of Governors, we want to join the rest of the stakeholders in appreciating your leadership, Your Excellency, in championing the reforms within the coffee sector. We are here as COG, carrying the apologies of the many members of COG. Your Excellency, you are aware that we have another event on sports happening today at State House, and we sat down and agreed as members of the Council of Governors that a number of us will be here to represent the rest, while the others will represent us on the other side. So we have the apologies of the Chair of Council of Governors, Governor Anne Waiguru, together with the Vice Chair, together with the Chair Agriculture. But we have a strong delegation here, Your Excellency, representing the COG. Right here, we have Governor Barchok from Bomet, Pigeye Makofi. We have Governor Irungu from Laikipia, Pigeye Makofi. Governor Ses kutoka Embu, Pigeye Makofi. Governor Cheboy from Baringo, Pigeye Makofi. Daktari Otuoma, Governor Busia, Pigeye Makofi. Governor Nyeri, Kaiga, Mwalimu Kaiga, Pigeye Makofi. My name is Stephen Sang, Governor Nandi, and also the whip of the Council of Governors. Your Excellency, we are together in this journey. With this time, and we thank God you came into leadership at a time when critical and difficult decisions must be made. And looking at the teams that went into the election last time, Your Excellency, in the last election, your pair, the President and yourself, are equal to the task. And we are sure that you are going to to go down the history of this country as the leadership that took the hard decisions to change the fortunes of our farmers and the country as a whole. Asanteni sana na Mungu wabariki.
Asante sana whip, Your Excellency. Allow me to introduce also my deputy governor mahali yako asimame, watu wamjue, Reverend Isaac Mutuma. Your Excellency, niko na mawaziri na chief officers kutoka county government ya Meru, wasimame wote, mawaziri wote wasimame na chief officers ndio hao. Your Excellency, niko na leadership ya county assembly na members karibu wote ambao wanasema tuko pamoja na governor ni mama na serikali ya Kenya kwanza, wasimame tuwashangilie kwa makofi. Members of county assembly of Meru wako hapa zaidi ya 50 ambao wamekuja kusupport wakulima wetu, and we want to thank God. Asanteni sana viongozi wetu ambao wamefika. Your Excellency, sitaki kuongea sana kwa sababu hii siku ni yako. Tunamshukuru Mungu kwa sababu for the first time in history tumeona mambo kama haya. Sisi tumekuwa tukingoja, lakini sasa Mungu ametunukia sisi baraka ya kwamba
Apologies, Your Excellency. I've just forgotten to introduce a few other stakeholders representing county governments. We have all our CECs agricultures present here from all the coffee growing counties. The CECs, can you be upstanding? CECs agriculture. Your Excellency, we have about close to 33 county governments that grow coffee, and we have a representation of the entire team of CECs standing before you. Asanteni sana, wapigie makofi. Then we also have the deputy governors. I may have forgotten, a number of the governors may have also sent in their deputy governors. Can you, deputy governors? That is Deputy Governor Machakos, Deputy Governor Nyeri. Nyeri is here with the governor. Deputy Governor Kirinyaga, pigia makofi pia, representing the governor. Any other deputy governor have left? Asanteni sana. Sorry for that.
Thank you, Whip. Your Excellency, sitaki kuchukua muda mrefu. Langu ni kuwakaribisha nyote Meru. Our mantra is making Meru happy. And we believe that this is the beginning. Umetunukia baraka ya kufanya hii conference hapa. Tunakushukuru sana. And we believe that this will not be the first and the last. We have other crops kama majani, miraa, mandizi, na tunajua kwa sababu hii ni mwanzo tu, utatutembelea tena na tena, tuwe na kikao kama hiki. We don't take it for granted. Ni Mungu ametutunikia baraka. Kwa hivyo letu ni kuombea uongozi wako. Wewe ni Jabaito ya Mount Kenya. We have only you in Mount Kenya that you are planning good things for us. Tunasema Mungu akubariki sana, pamoja na serikali ya rais wetu Daktari William Samoei Ruto. Na tumeamua kama wa Meru, sisi barabara ni hiyo. Ukisema right, tunaenda right. Ukisema left, tunaenda left. Na tukihimiza watu wetu ya kwamba hii serikali ambayo inaongozwa na rais wetu na Jabaito ilaibere hito mode, we must support. We must support kwa kila njia, kwa kila haina. Na ndio umeona tumetokea wengi hivi. It's only that the space is not enough. Tungekuja wengi sana, but we've picked few members ama leaders ambao watawakilisha wengine. Tunasema tunasupport agenda zote za serikali, na karibu tena na tena na tena. Tumefurahia sana uongozi wenu, na sisi tuko hapo kutii sheria na kusema ya kwamba God bless you mightily. Your Excellency, ninapoenda kuketi, naomba tu hii siwe mwanzo. Kuja tena tuna other crops, leo ni kahawa, tunaamini kutakuwa na mwelekeo. Na at the end of the day, ile kitu tunahitaji ni pesa mifukoni. Kufukuza katero ni pesa tutaweka kwa mifuko. Kuarrange na kuweka good policies za coffee ni pesa tutaweka kwa mfuko. Kwa hivyo tuko kwa leo, tupatie mwongozo, tupatie mwelekeo. Hii jeshi iko nyuma yako, sisi tuko nyuma yako, tusongeshe Kenya yetu mbele, na Meru must be happy. God bless you. Nachukua hii nafasi nimkaribishe waziri kijana wetu Rentore, ndio naye aweze kukukaribisha. Asante sana. Makofi kwa kijana wetu.
Asante sana mama gavana wetu, Mheshimiwa naibu wa rais, mawaziri wale tulio na hapa, Mheshimiwa Chelugui, mangavana wetu, seneta wetu Kadhuri Murungi, wabunge wa hapa Meru, deputy governor, viongozi wote wale wamefika hapa, na bila kusahau ma-PSs wote wale wetu wametoka Nairobi kuja kuwa na sisi, na viongozi wa wakulima wa kahawa. Bwana asifiwe. Bwana asifiwe tena. Kwanza wacha ni wakaribishe hapa Meru, sababu hapa ndipo nimezaliwa, na niunge gavana mkono kwa kusema ya kwamba mmekaribishwa hapa na tuko na furaha kuwa na nyinyi hapa siku ya leo. Naibu Rais, this is your second home from Nyeri. Feel comfortable and we are happy to have you with us this day. Let me thank you most sincerely for taking the lead in organizing and making sure that we assemble the coffee stakeholders here today for us to have a candid, robust discussion on how we can revive the coffee sector. I am happy that from this particular meeting and with the attendance of the various stakeholders that are here today, whatever challenge that is identified, the impediment, whatever makes it difficult for this sector to get back to where it was in those early years of 70s and 80s, this forum will come up with a solution that will guide the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock in doing what it's supposed to do to ensure that our coffee farmers are able to get good money for their coffee. Our farmers are able to get back to their farms and be able to increase the productivity of coffee. I remember in those early or late years of 1980s, we used to produce around 128,000 metric tons of coffee. Today, our coffee production has declined to the 30s. That is the figures for 2021. Our production for coffee was around 34,000 metric tons. So we want to, in my view, to understand where did the rain start beating us. We want to understand from this forum what is it that government can do so that we are able to get back our coffee, our farmers get the best value for what they do. I want to believe and share some experience, Your Excellency, that most of the leaders that are seated with us here today are products of the money that came from coffee. The people that we have in most offices, their fees in one way or another must have been paid by a cooperative society. I must confess that when I was in school, we would only take that slip showing how many kilos of coffee that you had delivered to a certain cooperative society. And your school fees would be guaranteed, you will not be chased away from school, and you would get education. That is how coffee was organized. That's how most of the people were able to get to school. But how we lost it, I am happy to be sitting here with my officers from the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock to listen to the coffee farmers that are sitting here, to the leaders of the various cooperative societies that are with us here, to give us our share ideas on how we can do it better. And I want to say that we are not in a hurry. We want to listen to you, and in the spirit of our constitution, and that whatever we think or whatever we want to do on behalf of the people, we must always consult and have the participation of the people. So this coffee conference here in Meru today gives us an opportunity to extensively engage the coffee farmers and the coffee stakeholders in coming up with homegrown solutions of the challenges and the problems that face the coffee sector. If it is about the legislation, if there is any area that is weak, we have the members of parliament that will do what is required of them to pass the right legislative proposals that will come out of a recommendation of this forum, so that we are able to have the necessary force of law to implement the growth of the coffee sector. It is not in doubt that agriculture is an evolved function. I'm happy that my partners that we work so closely with, who are the governors, are all represented here. And I'm happy that the governors are here. We work quite closely. We want even to engage more so that we are able now, out of the solutions that are made from this conference here in Meru, we will be able to pick out what is required of each part of government, whether it's the national or the county government, to be able to bring back our farmers to the farms, what we can be able to do to ensure there is high yield, there is quality of the coffee that we require, that will be able to fetch us good markets for our coffee. But I want to believe that from this forum, we will be able to have a solution of the challenges that have faced the coffee sector for a long time. Out of this forum, because we have the practitioners, we will be able to share with us what you think is what we need to do. As the technocrats from the ministry, I want you people from the ministry and the HAFA to open your ears and listen. Today is not about the theories or what we think in offices is what can be done. We have the practitioners, we have the people who practice farming, who can be able to tell us. We have the cooperative we have the cooperative lenders who aggregate coffee, who know where the problem is. Let us open our minds. Let us open our ears. Let us listen to them. Let them tell us what they want us to do so that we can get our coffee sector back to track. Your Excellency, allow me to thank you so sincerely for organizing this forum. Out of this forum, my work becomes easier. And I am so happy as the implementing agency of the recommendations that will come from this forum. We will do it to the letter. We will do it for the best interest of the people. And because I know, just like most of members, one member mentioned, if there are any cartels, I don't think there is any cartel that can be able to fight the Deputy President and the President, because these are the drivers of this agenda. So with those very many remarks, let me say I want to end there and ask my good friend, the Minister for Cooperatives, Mr. Chelugui, to come and say a few words as well. Karibu Mheshimiwa Chelugui, Minister Cooperatives. Asante.
Thank you so much, my colleague, CS Agriculture, Medical Inturi, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Governor Kawira Mwangaza, Governor wetu wa Meru, all distinguished governors present in the room, including the whip and our chair of UDA and Embu governor. The principal secretaries present. I can see PS Cooperatives, Patrick Lemi, and also PS Compudo, and all the PSs, the senators present in the room, the members of parliament, led by Mheshimiwa Daud, MP for Imenti North, and all the members of parliament present, the women reps, all the deputy governors present in the room, all the members of the county assembly led by their speakers, the respective chief executive officer, CECs from all the counties represented, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Hamjambo. Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, leo ni siku muhimu sana kwetu sisi kama Wizara ya Kilimo na Wizara ya Ushirika, kwa sababu hii kongamano ni ya kipekee. Kwa sababu tangu mbeleni tumekuwa tunategemea kahawa kwa kusalishaji wa kahawa katika upitia ushirika na estates. We've empowered our people. We have empowered Kenyans. Over 6 million Kenyans rely and depend on this value chain. Beyond production, there are others along the value chain who have benefited from this crop. And for that reason, Your Excellency, I want to sincerely and personally thank His Excellency, the President, Dr. William Ruto, and yourself for taking the first step. Given our conversation last year, this matter of guaranteed minimum return was actually about this value chain and the milk and the rest. So, as I begin my remarks, Your Excellency, I only don't know whether I have recognized all the PSS present. Yes. So, Your Excellency, we've had a conversation. Following your guidance, you remember we met in Nanyuki, and we were directed to meet with the Council of Governors. We had a meeting in Mombasa. We left Mombasa. We reported in the summit in Naivasha. And later on, we came up with recommendation. So, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, allow me to just come up with a context of the issues that we would like in the end of this conference to at least be able to guide our resolutions and be able to give a way forward, at least something that we can take home and utilize. Your Excellency, I'm delighted to be here in this coffee conference, a significant milestone in our coffee revitalization agenda. Today, I want to highlight the importance of coffee subsector and our commitment to strengthening institutions within the Ministry of Cooperative and MSME and also the Ministry of Agriculture, and by extension, the Ministry of Trade. The bottom-up economic transformation agenda envisions a productive agriculture sector powered by smallholder farmers along the key value chains with the overall aim of reducing the dependence on basic food imports and revitalization of export crops such as coffee. Under the better coffee sector is one of the cash crops identified for revitalization, as it has been a key contributor to the national and rural economy in terms of foreign exchange earnings, improvement of farmers' incomes, and their livelihoods. Your Excellency, my colleague has talked about where we've come from. Those days, we had a national production of over 130,000 metric tons, making this really a black cold for our people. Today, we dropped down to 34,000 metric tons. And the government of that time reviewed the situation and came up with some recommendations. Some of them have worked, some of them have not worked. We would want to pick on the success story and push the agenda of coffee production in Kenya. Your Excellency, in the year 2021-2022, there was a remarkable improvement in production where the total production increased to 51,852 metric tons. That is, the estates contributed 15,533 and the smallholder cooperatives produced 36,999 metric tons, representing a growth of 50.24%. This was attributed to, among other factors, provision of subsidized fertilizer through the new KPCU. If this trend continues, Your Excellency, the dream of achieving 200,000 metric tons within the next 4 years could indeed become a reality. Your Excellency, to put this to context, whereas the national average production in the country is estimated to be 2 kilos per coffee bush or a tree, in this county of Meru, and I'm happy Mheshimiwa Daud was able to introduce, we have farmers here in Meru. And if time allows, we could also make a visit, a farm visit to one of these leading farmers to just experience how this is happening here in Embu. It can be replicated in the rest of the country. We have farmers producing up to 35 kilos per tree. If that happens, we have 108,000 hectares of under coffee in Kenya. And if we were on average per acre we have about 500 trees. If each tree could even give us 7 kilos, we could achieve our target, our projected national production, by just improving extension services, the farm inputs, farm management, and supervision of production. Your Excellency, a testament that if all the systems are effectively running in the coffee subsector, Kenya has the potential to be among the top 5 leading coffee producers in the world. Early this year, Your Excellency, the Ministry of Cooperative and MSME Development organized a benchmarking visit to Colombia. Being the 3rd largest producer of coffee in the world, provided valuable insight into the factors contributing to their success. Upon return from the visit to Colombia, I appointed a technical working group to study and report on the lessons learned from the visit. Your Excellency, we were accompanied by Governor Kaiga of Nyeri and Governor Ken Lusaka of Bungoma. The team made several observations and recommendations to guide our efforts in revitalizing the subsector. Allow me, Your Excellency, I know this will be coming up in our presentation, but allow me to just make a few highlights of the observations and lessons learned from that visit. Both Kenya and Colombia produce mild Arabica coffee, which holds great value in international coffee market. And this was highlighted by the visit of the Vice President of Colombia, who made a courtesy call to you, and we agreed on a way forward, including memorandum of understanding. I would be appealing to you, Your Excellency, if time allows, you also make time to benchmark and visit, and as you lead this sector, at least you can have the background and knowledge of how others have done it. It will be very good so that we are all talking from the same page. Your Excellency, in Colombia, farmers deliver parchment coffee to their National Federation of Coffee Growers of Colombia, commonly known as FNC, where quality evaluation takes place and farmers are paid immediately. In contrast, Kenya farmers deliver coffee cherry to cooperative processing facilities and have to wait for long periods for the cherry to be processed into clean coffee and sold and be paid. The second observation, Your Excellency, was the FNC of Colombia has established strong financial infrastructure and human capacity base supported by federal government. Consequently, they face no liquidity problems in paying farmers. This stands in contrast to Kenya, where financial challenges arising from minimal or no savings by the cooperative societies often restrict timely payments to coffee farmers. In Colombia also, FNC operates purchase guarantee mechanism ensuring daily parchment prices for coffee farmers based on empirical formulas and the New York Coffee Exchange. This guarantees the purchase of all coffee produced. In addition, FNC-run Coffee Price Stabilization Fund, meant to cushion farmers in the event of drastic price fluctuation. In Kenya, such structures and funding are lacking and ought to be considered. Your Excellency, in Kenya, coffee is paid in dollars through auctions and direct sales. However, the payment to farmers is made in Kenya shillings by marketing agents, cooperative societies, and the banks. Sensitizing these entities to pay farmers in dollars or equivalent of the prevailing dollar exchange rate at the time of payment to the farmer. Additionally, the timing of payments can be improved with the introduction of the direct settlement system, which is now under discussion, Your Excellency, or consider parchment advances and faster processing. It is possible from that experience that we can commit ourselves upon delivery of coffee cherry in our primary processing plants to assure the farmer of payment within 30 or 45 days. That is a possibility that we can discuss and agree, and we can guarantee farmers. Look at the dairy sector. When Meru Dairy committed to pay farmers on the 5th of every month, the milk production in Meru has become a leader in the country. We could do the same in coffee, and we can do the same in other value chains. Your Excellency, Colombia boasts of robust coffee research and technology transfer system supported by 30 PhD researchers driving the research. In Kenya, the Coffee Research Foundation or Coffee Research Institute faces funding constraints limiting its services and technology transfer. We are still surviving as a country because of Ruiru 2, a product of Coffee Research Institute. Without the research and science-led production, we could as well close shop as far as coffee is concerned. It is therefore my appeal to this conference, Your Excellency, that we make consideration in finding formulas and ways of funding our research institution. We need to bring a collaboration between leading research institutions like Senicafe of Colombia and the Coffee Research of Kenya. Colombia successfully implemented simple and patented technology and equipment throughout the coffee value chain. They are also supported by 1,500 extension officers. A fact, and I'm happy that, Your Excellency, today we have our governors. Cooperative extension services has been devolved. It is possible that working together with our governors, we can ask our county governments to recruit and deploy cooperative officers and extension officers. And the common brand of Colombia, the Joan Valdez. In contrast, in Kenya, So Rich, So Kenyan brand has not received widespread promotion, and the country lacks international coffee promotion prices. The local coffee consumption in Colombia is 40%, in Kenya is 5%. Your Excellency, through these insights gained from Colombia experience, I see an opportunity in the following areas, which I would like to propose that as we continue discussing, Your Excellency, that this conference make consideration. The strengthening of the farmers' institutions. We have come up with the farmers' entities like NACHU, National Coffee Cooperative Union, the KPCU, Grower Coffee Millers Milling, the Commodity Fund, the Kenya Farmers Association, provision of certified farm inputs, tools and equipment. You remember the days, Your Excellency, KFA was the institution of choice as far as farm inputs was concerned. The strengthening governance structures and institutions by implementing robust accountability. We've had a serious problem, Your Excellency, in our societies. We have had big cooperatives like Odaya farmers, Mokurueni farmers, all of them actually coming down because of the liberalization that we experienced in the 90s. This could have been the reason why we have lost our production. To address production in the country, the supply of subsidized farm inputs as fertilizer, agrochemicals, and lime ought to be prioritized. The new KPCU, KFA, and cooperative society could be used as special purpose vehicles to distribute crops, to distribute the farm inputs. We need to enhance the Capital Market Authority. Our biggest, the elephant in the room is the management of the sales and auction of our coffee. And we can introduce an independent agency, and Capital Markets Authority have played that role. They've done very well, and we look forward that this could be utilized. So, Your Excellency, as I go to conclude, we need to prioritize restructuring of Nairobi Coffee Exchange. This coffee exchange, Nairobi Coffee Exchange, Your Excellency, has no representation of the farmers, of the government, and there is need for us to make clear, conscious interest, take conscious interest on what happens in that coffee exchange. We need a regulator of what happens in that exchange. There is need to develop empirical formula for experts like KIPRA, derived from international commodity pricing, such as New York Coffee Exchange, so that we can have proper price discovery. Structure the fund coffee research by maybe levying a percentage on the production so that we can be able to fund that program. The high indebtedness, an issue that Governor Cecily Mbarira has been pushing. The high indebtedness among our county mills, like Embu Mills, Machakos Mills, among others. We have also a mill in Baringo. I propose, Your Excellency, a waiver of all the interest accrued as an incentive to promote coffee milling at the county levels, and also complementing other bigger millers, such as the new KPCU and others. Your Excellency, I also propose through the Cabinet Memorandum to address and finalize the liquidation of the new KPCU by meeting the outstanding debts so that we can have that mill fully in the hands of the farmers. I also want to propose, Your Excellency, that there is a working team between the Ministry of Cooperative, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Trade, and the Council of Governors to be able to take up this assignment so that as you drive this agenda, we have a working team, because this agenda is agenda of Kenya. So, as I conclude my remarks, Your Excellency, the coffee regulations cannot go unmentioned. I want to thank you personally that you intervene on the regulations that control the auctioning and selling of coffee, and AFA, an institution under the Ministry of Agriculture, was able to take up that order, and now today we have licensed more traders, more dealers, more participants in our coffee exchange. Capital Markets Authority now are back, and we need to enhance and entrench their participation. The only issue I have with that bill, Your Excellency, that the Coffee Bill 2023 is before Senate, and I wish to make a few recommendations before consideration of its enactment. The Ministry of Cooperative and Development is conspicuously missing in that bill. 85% of Kenya's coffee is largely produced through cooperative societies and smallholder estates, which require heavy involvement of the parent ministry. The role of the Ministry of Cooperatives in aggregation, marketing, and sales need to be also considered. Milling, warehousing. We have through KPCU warehouses in Meru, in Sagana, in Bungoma, in Kisumu, Nakuru, and even Nairobi and Mombasa. Again, this could help the farmers. We do not have to spend more money in building other warehouses. The composition of the Coffee Board of Kenya, Your Excellency, we propose the reconstitution and re-establishment of the Coffee Board of Kenya. This institution, when it was alive and working, the coffee, there was an oversight, there was a supervisor, there was a regulator, specifically to deal with the coffee value chain. It is our prayer and hope that we have representation from the National Cooperative Coffee Union and also 3 other members who are involved in coffee. One also in the coffee exchange, in the CRI, and the key institutions of coffee, coffee. So last but not least is recognition of other critical farmers-oriented institutions, and as I said, National Cooperative Coffee Union, a formation by farmers, and the National Cooperative Coffee Exporters, again an organization of farmers. As a nation that values entrepreneurship and community cooperation, the Ministry of Cooperative and MSME Development plays a pivotal role in driving economic growth, job creation, and empowerment. My ministry is committed to strengthening these institutions, promoting the role of the cooperatives, and supporting the coffee subsector. Together, we can drive economic growth, create opportunities, and achieve sustainable development of our country. Your Excellency, before I invite you, among us, we have just received CS Moses Kuria, who is also my classmate. And I have a lot I can say. At least he has done a lot, very good things since university, and I think he still has a lot for Kenya. I want to take this opportunity to invite him here to make a few remarks. I also want to recognize the party leader of Jubilee, Honorable Sabina Chege, who is also in the room. Mheshimiwa Moses Kuria.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, my colleague, Minister Mithikali Ntuli, Minister Simon Chelugui, members of the Senate, National Assembly, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am delighted to be here today. Just yesterday, CS Rintoli and myself were in a very far-off country known as Belarus. And we had to use all means possible to get here because we deem that this meeting is extremely important. I'm not just here as a cabinet secretary, I'm here as a stakeholder in coffee. And I always say that my late father left only 2 inheritances to me. One is P.O. Box 237 Gatundu. I'm one of the very few people who had a post office box. And the other one is membership number 402 in Kigomano Coffee Factory. So I was educated through coffee, and I know that coffee has brought so many of us here. Unajua kuna wengine wamekuja kwa chai kama Kadhuri, wengine kwa miraa kama Lintuli, lakini mimi niko hapa kwa sababu ya kahawa. Your Excellency, this year Kenya will import 700,000 metric tons of edible oil from Malaysia, from Indonesia, and from such countries. But Kenya will only export 40,000 metric tons of coffee. If we want a statement of how much work there is to do, look no further, that we are going to spend over $1 billion to import edible oil from other countries and only export 40,000 metric tons of the black gold. You remember the black gold of Chepkube. And so there is a lot of work to be done. First on production, but being from this region, I do not think that production is really the problem. Our people are extremely hardworking. Our people are actually human tractors. So all we need to do is to put money on the table. Once we put money on the table, then our people will farm. And by the way, I have never seen, especially people from the counties which are in this region, anything that has money that they do not make efforts to produce, including quails, you remember? Yeah? So just show them the money and, you know, they will be there right ahead of us. That is why I am delighted with the comments made by my brother CS Cherugui, that it's actually me and him who need to put the way, to lead the way, to put money into coffee, to create markets, and to create a higher price for our farmers. Then now we can turn to our brother Lintuli and tell him, despite putting money on the table, there was no production. And I don't think that is a problem. So I want to reiterate what CS Cherugui has said. First, in terms of the coffee reforms, which we supported.
Eje ni Wero TV. Aja kwa Wero TV turingenda muno gukuthikira nitugukugwata ugeni utwe maoni yaku kana kinya mateta jaria womba kwithira uri nayo no warani na bautwe gukurukira complaints@werotv.co.ke tukagucokeria biuria na mateta jaku jaria jonthe ukethirwa uri nayo ni bwega ni untu bwa gutugwata mbaru.
Waikwan kombo cia mithega imbibi byongwa pia ya mathwaniene yaku ana beombithine nyanto ba kurebe ichukumete yotumiri bonda wa chembogita nonto boitumi mwanya mwanya baba ingi ba matokera gontu yontu ya kogote na anto ne bokenda bakitha bakimunta bakimeriana bange kinyabe ya kuchia dawa kilo tumiri bonda wichembogita baba ingi bateto turobo jati thangalana na bangi borira street ni wachia kurea wichi area watana na ni wini wa Kingero ntuko chionde cha Jumapili kwambiria thaa 12:30 na rankulo kinyanke thangi kuretera ataalamu begenda wichembogita ni bokenda baketha betu tara
kaigi muno ndawa ni facility ta kana nyitiriga mu kigo kuchura janjobi ni induce depression Ugatha muntu eruga mutungi agekira kiorone akaithaku gwintule nyemo nkumenya eta ukura kaburi kamutano ngina ari na mutungi kunusu
aciari batwike good example no ntukuri aciari bamwe bari a very bad example mwana akurire nja ithi akunywa bangi akunywa thigara akunywa nchobi akeja kuruma no tuku
Kulo kitu atiri tukwarania na tubarapo kumete ko tumiri boda wa chembo gita
mugaza itwa uma mukeberu bia sumuni you know my life I messed it na chiringi jere na sumuni ko ndageretie suicide attempts maitaja mainge ngurukia maitaja tatu kana jana rio tigana na nchobi kana ndawa shombe cia kuredia shambo gita murungu akwarura the face ko apiara no tukinyanira hiji I'm smiling.
Dating show kali ya Hello Mr. Right imerudi hewani. Season 3 ndio moto zaidi.
Will you please marry me?
Warembo 16, bachelor mmoja.
Sina pesa lakini kuna sura.
Maceleb kibao, relationship expert Gertrude Mungai na celebrity host Dr. Ofweneke na Diana Bahati. Hello Mr. Right Season 3 kuanzia saa 2 May 6 kwa Rembo TV. Lipia subscription yako ya Aerial Classic bouquet ya 999 bob ama D-Smart bouquet ya 1059 bob upate entertainment kuruka. Download StarTimes on ucheki Hello Mr. Right na vipindi zingine nyingi on the go. StarTimes, furahia maisha kidigitali.
AJ ni Wero TV.
It is because we need that finance bill to be directed to schemes like this. So I have seen that my good friend, the chair of the Coffee Caucus, Honorable Amushomba, is on the list. So the reason why I want you, Amushomba, to support the finance bill is so that we can be able to get money to carry out some of these programs. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Moses, waziri wetu wa biashara. I also have seen Mheshimiwa Karu Murungara. I think we had not been introduced. And I've also seen Mheshimiwa Wamushomba. He's also in the room. Your Excellency, they organized, 70 members of parliament organized a caucus. Mheshimiwa Mutunga is here. He was also the whip, and all the members who attended that function, 70 of them. It tells you it's a national issue. It's a national debate. It's a national concern by the House, by the executive, and the farmers. As I go to introduce His Excellency, when we went to Rwanda for the Africa Coffee Producers, I picked one lesson. The Republic of Uganda, the President of Uganda, made a national pronunciation that in 5 years, Uganda should be 500,000 metric tons. All the county assembly members, all the members of parliament, all farmers were rallied. To date, Uganda is the second largest coffee producer in Africa. It is possible through this conference, Your Excellency. We are not late. The time is now. We can come up with a resolution and a pronouncement that can push our production and push the mechanism and institutions that manages this value chain. And for sure, Kenya will not be the same again. With those many remarks, Your Excellency, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, I'll request you to be upstanding as we welcome our Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, to make his remarks and address this conference. Your Excellency, the Deputy President.
Thank you. Please be seated. The Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, my brother Mithika Linturi, the Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives, Small and Medium Enterprises, the Honorable Simon Chirgui, the Cabinet Secretary for Investment, Trade and Industry, the Honorable Moses Kuria, Excellencies Governors present, our host Governor Kawira, Honorable members of the Senate and the National Assembly, the principal secretary is present, chairs of various parliamentary committees and caucus, the academia, members of the cooperative movement, and the most important people in this conference, our distinguished farmers, good morning. God is good, and all the time. Mnisalimie kwa haya. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Bwana Yesu asifiwe tena. I register my appreciation to you for turning up for this Coffee Stakeholders Conference in the great country of Meru, which is on the eastern slopes of Mount Kenya. Converging in Meru for this critical meeting is significant. From this county, one of the regions whose men and women fought for Kenya's independence, and the greatest farmers of all time, we must resolve to liberate and dignify the coffee farmer by delivering economic freedom. For the next 2 days, we'll establish structures for long-term reforms in the coffee subsector. Distinguished guests and farmers, in the Executive Order number 1 of 2023, President William Ruto tasked me with overseeing public reforms, reforming the coffee, tea, and dairy subsectors, and this has formed part of my work. I have engaged stakeholders like yourself towards a turnaround to profitability. Distinguished farmers, this summit is a climax of wide consultations with farmers, various state and non-state agencies in the country and outside on sustainable reforms. For far too long, those who sweat most in producing the cash crop have benefited the least. And that is why we are here today, to make sure that those who toil most benefit the most, and those who do little benefit little along the way. We want to link the farmer to the consumer directly and do away with a big chain of middlemen between the farmer and the consumer. From the engagements, we have identified legal, policy, and operational gaps in the production and marketing chain. This is a key component of the output of this conference. Distinguished farmers, we are in full gear to delivering results in the coffee subsector, and the Ruto administration was elected on the promise of uplifting those at the bottom of the development stratum. With the high cost of Kenyan coffee in the international market, it is unacceptable that the Kenyan farmer gets almost nothing. The Kenyan farmer, therefore, should thrive economically, as it was the case years back. Our farmers must get maximum returns from their hard work. This will also boost our foreign exchange. We must rewrite history of the Kenyan coffee, which dates back to 1894. This brand was and still is known across the world by its superior and distinct aroma and flavor. President William Ruto and I have zero vested interest beyond saving the farmer. Indeed, coffee is a legacy crop for the Kenya Kwanza administration under Dr. William Ruto. Distinguished farmers, an estimated 800,000 smallholder growers in about 525 cooperative societies are waiting in hope. All eyes are glued to Meru. Farmers across the country are waiting the outcome of this conference. This Meru conference must midwife long-term and sustainable farmer-centered reforms in the coffee subsector. Distinguished guests, For this forum to achieve its goal, we need to collectively examine the current situation, and I invite all of you to speak openly and candidly in the interactive summit. I may just want to add a little and say, coffee production is down, and Mythical Inturi doesn't need to do much to increase production. Coffee production went down because farmers were getting nothing. There is no way you can continue putting inputs, putting labor into something, and you get nothing. The Honorable Moses Kuria, like myself, we are all products of this subsector. We went to school with the coffee proceeds. In the late 70s when we were young boys, and the early 80s when we were in high school, when you were admitted to a high school, the headmaster would interview your parent to ascertain whether you will be a problem in terms of paying school fees or not. And the headmaster would ask one question: do you have coffee? Once you said yes, you would be admitted to the school without any further question. Because a membership number of a cooperative society was much more credible than a banker's check today. Because coffee had returns, and it is working, it was working. We saw it work. We went to school through coffee proceeds, and today we are here. If it worked then, it must work now. And that is why we are here. Good people, history will judge you kindly. If from this conference you come up with practical and pragmatic suggestions on what we need to do to restore the coffee subsector and put money in the pocket of the coffee farmer. Honorable Moses Kuria and Chelugui, once you do what you must do, market our coffee at good prices, and the farmers get a commensurate return, production will be increased automatically without any further effort. That is the truth. The whole of this equation, the whole of all this trouble in the coffee subsector will be resolved by marketing and getting the right prices and removing the middlemen between the farmer and the consumer. Once that is done, as a country, we are sorted. Coffee used to be #1 foreign exchange earner for this country. Today, I think we are poor fifth. Once we get the prices right, once we remove the middlemen, which we must remove, once the farmer is empowered in a commensurate manner, coffee production will go up, the prices will be good, we'll export the coffee across the world, we'll get sufficient foreign exchange earnings, and our economy is sorted. So this coffee conference will not only just sort out the coffee farmer, but will sort out the greater Kenyan economy. Therefore, I have a few things that I want you to look into. And when the president asked me to do this work, he asked me to do it for 3 reasons. 1, he gave a commitment to the people of Kenya that will sort out the Kenyan farmer, and he needed it sorted out. He asked me to coordinate the various ministries because 1, I am passionate about coffee because I'm a product of coffee earnings. So this for me is personal. Other than being deputy president it's personal for me because I saw it work. And if it worked then, it will work. The president also asked me to do it because he knows me. One, I have zero interest in the subsector. Number two, I am incorruptible. Nobody can offer me anything in this world to remove me from the path of coffee reforms to get money into the pockets of the farmers. So I want to tell all those people who have been eating money from the farmers, the cartels, the middlemen, your time is up. Your time is up. You must give way and align with us, or we get you out. You must agree that it's not business as usual. This administration of William Ruto is the administration that will sort out the issues of coffee cartels, tea cartels, milk cartels, and restore the dignity of the Kenyan farmer. And I want to say in broad daylight, I've seen all the cameras are here. I want to make an announcement to all those people who have been living on the sweat of the coffee farmers that what you have gotten is enough and is sufficient. You can reinvest it elsewhere. Going further, you must get just what is due to you. A little percentage, 95% must go to the coffee farm. Tukikubaliana, we don't want to get you out of the way. We want us to work together. I want this conference to consider radical reforms in the coffee exchange, which has been a ping-pong game among the very players. I want you to look at it, and why we have members of the National Assemblies here, we have the members of the Senate, we have the county governors here, is that whatever recommendations you come up with, we'll have a legislative proposal to anchor them in law. Then President William Ruto and I and these three good ministers will do everything possible to implement those reforms to the letter for the benefit of the farmer. I want you to look at the issues surrounding the Coffee Board of Kenya, because when Coffee Board of Kenya was there, things were working. When this subsector and others were all grouped together, they were not able to be accorded sufficient attention, and along the way, we got in trouble. I want to ask this conference to look at the Coffee Research Institute. What was in Roiro, called the Coffee Research Foundation then, today is a pale shadow of its former self. And that is one of the areas the rain began beating us. Research is important. We must come up with recommendations. When we are looking at the coffee cess, what percentage will go to support the Coffee Research Institute so that it can be our institution of first visit to get the quality of our seedlings right, to deal with the issue of coffee berry diseases, to deal with the various challenges around coffee farming. I want to request you to consider proposing to these members of parliament on how to streamline marketing. As it is today, it's unacceptable that the very people who are marketing are also millers. They are also roasters. It cannot work. That is how the coffee farmer has been exploited. We know they register different companies, but they are the same people. And they are the same people who sit at the coffee exchange. They are the marketers, they are the millers, they are the sellers, they are the buyers. Huyu mkulima si ameisha. And they are the brokers. That will be sorted out in Meru. And why did I choose Meru? Meru is the land of the brave and the courageous. Yes. Difficult decisions will be made here. They'll hurt a few people, but the majority will be happy. And we are sorry for the few people who will be hurt along the way. Lakini lazima mkulima apate haki yake. So watu 5 10 wakiumia kidogo, marupurupu yao ipungue, hakuna hasara, tutaenda kubwa. We want you to discuss the Coffee Cherry Fund, CS Cherugui, that fund for 3 billion. Moses Kuria and I, we have been complaining. The uptake has been very slow. There must be a problem. Please sit down. Let's look why. How do we have 3 billion? We have only absorbed 500,000. And people need money, isn't it? There must be a problem about the whole structure, about the whole architecture on how to avail that money to the coffee farmer. This conference must sort it out. And that is why it's a 2-day conference. I want to put your notice, we'll work deep into the night. We'll work tomorrow deep into the night. We have 2 days and nights to sort out this coffee thing and this maneno forever. Na hakuna mtu amekuja hapa na mtoto ananyonyesha. Hakuna mtu wako na mtoto kwa mgongo. Na yule yako naye atapatia nyanya yake amshikie for the time being. So that we work late and we work very methodically, issue by issue. And by the time we leave here, we have the new interventions. Then these good members of the National Assembly, the chairman of Agriculture is here. The Senate is here. And I told Senate, slow down on the Coffee Bill 2023. Wait for this caucus. This is another very serious public participation now. Because these ones are not just the ordinary farmer. It's everybody who is who in the coffee subsector. So we'll get all the laws. The Senate bill will incorporate what comes from here. Then we go to the National Assembly, to the Senate. We get the right laws. Then hiyo itakuwa ni kibarua ya rais na mimi na hao mawaziri wetu na ma-PSs to implement it to the letter. You must discuss about KPCU. KPCU was a success story. Along the way, it is moribund. How do we get KPCU to what it was? To the benefit of the coffee farmer. We want you to consider this conference about cooperative societies. From where I sit, we lost it when we allowed greed among cooperative society officials to subdivide giant and huge coffee societies into many uneconomical units, therefore increasing the operational cost and the cost of production. We must make a decision how to take advantage of the economies of scale by pulling coffee together into huge organizations to bring down operational cost. And I want to say, after these societies were subdivided into uneconomical units, everybody wants to be a leader. And the marketers have corrupted our cooperative societies and their officials. In fact, during elections for societies officials, the campaign is even more funded than the presidential campaign. Na wewe ukijiuliza hii wakulima wanataka kuwa chairman ya society, anatoa pesa wapi? Anataka kuwa treasurer. Where would they get money? It is these marketers who give them money so that they commit them to reserve their coffee for them and then they buy at the price they want. We want this conference to consider that we shouldn't allow any marketer to go and commit coffee beyond a season. Because those are the people who have installed puppets in every cooperative society for the benefit of the marketer. And this conference must deal with that through coming up with mechanism on how we put laws to protect cooperative societies. You must look at the issue of the pest control board. I've told CS Linturi. The kind of chemicals that are finding them in the market are no longer effective. Second generation pesticides and fungicides are in the market because the pest and control board is not working. And the farmers spend money, they spray their coffee, and nothing happens. That is something that we must streamline. I want to assure you that the fertilizer subsidy program, among other interventions, will go on. We registered the coffee farmers so that we are able to plan properly, especially now for the short range. In the long range, we had many challenges. We are just coming to government, but we are going to make sure that it is sufficient. So I want to assure you people, we made a promise we will sort out the crops. People have been asking me what happened. We were settling down. Now we have a fully constituted government. We have CSs, we have PSs, we have committee chairman. Sasa ni kazi. Tumeanza kazi ya wakulima. Na mimi hiyo nataka nikae hapo. In the next 3 weeks, we'll have another conference for tea stakeholders in the county of Kericho. We want all these crops, when we meet at the center of production, so that the environment is even right. Somebody was telling me we go to this conference in Naivasha. Sasa mambo ya kahawa inaweza zungumziwa Naivasha. So mambo ya chai, in 3 weeks time, all the stakeholders will be in Kericho, the county of Kericho, again to have a discussion. We'll be back. Tuko na mambo ya macadamia, avocado, and other crops. We'll group them together because we cannot have too many conferences for each crop. But at least coffee and tea should stand on their own because they are huge. We'll be back again to discuss issues of macadamia, issues of avocado, which CS Korea has taken with a lot of energy, but we want to bring all the stakeholders together so that we agree what is it that we do so that we have sustainable solutions. Kwa hivyo mimi niseme, I have very clear and equivocal instructions from President William Ruto that we must sort out the coffee subsector and restore the dignity of the Kenyan farmer. And me, I'm a very obedient deputy, so I'm under instructions. So ile mtu atasimama kwa barabara yangu nitapita na yeye, kwa sababu pia mimi nachunga unga yangu isimwagike. Na mnajua hii kazi nimepata juzi, na mnajua vile niko na shida mingi. Sasa hii kazi sasa lazima niichunge, si ndio? So mnajua vile nilikuwa na shida mingi. Sasa hii kazi nimepata mimi, sitaki mchezo. Rais ameniambia go and call everybody, sort out coffee, tea, milk, bring the recommendations. And he is monitoring this conference. Even Linturi, Minister, and Kuria were in Belarus. He had sent them there, and he called them back because he wants us to succeed. And they are important people in this conference. So, wale sasa kwanza huyu Mdeka Linturi na Kuria, nyinyi ni watoto ya hapa Mount Kenya, hii ni pahali ya kahawa. If this thing is not sorted out in your time, mtaambia watu nini Kuria na Linturi na mimi? Tutasema nini? Sisi ni watoto ya hapa, hii wakulima wetu tunawajua, tunawaelewa, tunajua vile wamenyanyaswa na marketers na cartels. Tukikosa kuwasaidia, hata Mungu ataonana na sisi. Hawa wakishindwa muwashitaki kwa Mungu. Mtawashitaki? Hawa lazima wafanye. Na mimi nitawakalia vibaya sana. Tukimalizana hapa, within 2 weeks the laws should be ready. Nao bunge, Mutunga na wengine musukume. Mupitishe haraka iende kama risasi. Then mutupatie tufanye implementation. But I want to confirm, for avoidance of doubt, if there is an administration that will sort out the coffee subsector, it is the Ruto administration that I deputize. And I can tell you we have total commitment. Later this evening, I'll be able to talk to the Meru, the Embu, the Tharaka, and the Nithi people kwa ma TV zetu jioni. Yale maneno tumeanza kuongea ndio waelewe, so that they are part of it. Then on Sunday from Meru hii nitakuwa na Kerebe hapa pia niongelesha wale wengine, so that we bring everybody on board, so that we have the support. And that is why nimesema wale watu kwanza wanakuza kahawa, na wako hapa maseneta, muwapigie simu wakuje, kwa sababu nitawatangaza kwa watu yao. Jioni kama wewe ni kiongozi umechaguliwa, area yako iko Kahawa, na wewe hapana iko pahali Kahawa nasungumziwa, uko wapi? Where will you be? Lazima nitaambia wananchi siku kuona. Wakikuona wakuulize maoni yako nika? Leo jioni na Sunday. So wale marafiki yenu muwapigie simu. Nitawashitaki kwa raia. Because if you are not here, how will you support the recommendation in the National Assembly and in the Senate? Why don't you come here? We talk together so that ikija pale ni kusema yes, si ndio? So muwapigie simu wakuje. Isipokuwa ni wale wako ngambo, wengine wakuje so that they are part of this process. Because walichaguliwa na raia na wananchi wanataka Kahawa ikuwe sorted. So wewe kama constituency yako iko na Kahawa, wewe iko wapi? Kama wewe senator kwako iko Kahawa, where are you? Si ukuje pahali mambo ya watu yako yanazungumziwa. Kazi gani nyingine huko naye? Ni gani hiyo? So tutauliza wananchi kama walikuona huko nyumbani ama ulikuwa hapa ndio. Kama huko wa nyumbani na huko hapa, utaambia hao bahali ulikuwa. Nikimalizia, so that now we open this conference, watu wazungumuze. Na mimi siondoki, I'll sit here today, tonight, tomorrow. Tutakaa hapa. Basi miraa itakuja. Aburi. Hata miraa iko kwa barabara. Na Muguka. And we made a commitment, tutachagua mabalozi ya kwenda Djibouti na wapi kutoka area hii ndio waende watafute soko. That is a commitment that we made with the president, and that will be done. Finally, it is true, all these interventions, watu ya Meru, watu ya Mount Kenya, watu ya Rift Valley, watu ya Coast, tukienda kila pahali wanataka barabara, wanataka maji, wanataka fertilizer ikuwe subsidized, wanataka mama wazee over 70 years wapewe haki yao. Hii pesa we must collect it from somewhere. That is why we have the finance bill. We have the finance bill. And let me tell leaders ambaye wanaongea cross purpose. It is only we are not taking time kueleza wananchi what is happening. Turuachie watu ya opposition na Twitter wapige kelele. We are coming to explain to the people why we must collect money to build their roads, to do their water. And the people will understand that they have started understanding. Wale ambaye wanasema finance bill ni mbaya ni ile watu ya Azimio. Mimi nimeuliza magavana juzi. Wewe governor, hata kama uko pande ya Azimio, uko na serikali, unataka pesa kutoka kwa serikali kuu from National Treasury. Yule Raila unafuata hana serikali yeyote. Yule Kalonzo hana serikali yeyote. Yule Martha Karua, hii msichana wetu hapa Kirinyaga, hana serikali yeyote. So wanamwambia mpinge. Nyinyi, we owe you money for 3 months, which we have not paid you because we don't have the money. We must collect it from somewhere. So wewe ukiwa governor unasimama kupinga ati umeambiwa na Raila na Martha Karua na Kalonzo na hao wana serikali yeyote, kazi yao ni kupiga kelele. But hakuna mtu nauliza hao mshahara, hakuna mtu nauliza hao barabara, hakuna mtu nauliza hao chochote, alafu wewe unafuata yeye. Sasa utafuata mtu ambaye hakuna mtu nadai yeye chochote. Na wewe uko na serikali. We owe these governors 94 billion, which they need to pay salaries, to build roads, to buy drugs in hospitals. If we don't collect this money, and the law says the money will be paid by Kenyans, that is the law. Tusipochukua hiyo pesa tutatolea nyinyi wapi? I am very happy that the leadership, especially of this region where we come from, is all aligned. Let us support the finance bill. Let us support the housing fund, because watoto wetu tunasomesha, wanatoka kwa shule hawana kazi. Mafundi wako wanashida pale kwa river wanangoja. The whole housing thing has 2 components. The lesser component is getting houses for Kenyans to stop living in slums.
that need is about 30%. But the whole component of housing, 70%, is to create employment for our young people so that they have work to do. Sasa wewe ukipinga na kwako constituency kumejaa vijana hawana kazi, tunataka kuwatafutia kazi, na hao vijana hakuna mtu anawaambia watakatwa chochote kwa sababu hana mshahara. So we are even telling wananchi hawa ya kawaida, don't bother about hii watu napiga kelele. Wewe hakuna mtu anakukata pesa kwa sababu huna kazi. Siku utapata kazi ndio utakatwa, so utapiga kelele wakati hiyo. But for now, siwacha tukutafutie kazi upate kukatwa. Si ndio? Yeah. It is the leaders who don't want to pay. Na lazima hii watu walipe, hii watu wote wako na suti hapa wamekaba. Kawira, you must pay. Lazima. Kadhuri, lazima. Hata mimi niko pale. Hii vijana wetu watatoa kazi wapi kama hatutengenezi fund ya kuwasaidia? But I can tell you, this incitement will come to an end. When we successfully pass a bill and it is enacted and implemented, au mahazo na waona hakuna mtu wako na shughuli na hawa, watawachana na hiyo maneno. So these people will be talking to trees. Lakini wenye kusumbua ni wale ambaye hawana any obligation to anybody. Because hii watu ya Azimio, hakuna mtu nauliza hao chochote. Labda wajukuu yao, and that one they can afford from their allowances. But kwa raia, they have no obligation to anybody. Finally, let me confirm to the media and the Kenyan people that the greatness of a leader is the ability to make hard decisions. This economy of Kenya, where we found it, and I said in Kasarani, we found a dilapidated economy with empty coffers. For us to turn around this economy and restore it to where Mwai Kibaki left us, President William Ruto and all of us who work under him must make hard decisions. The decisions may be a little painful in the beginning, but along the way they will be rewarding. And I want to confirm, this little noise and discomfort is okay for us. But I want to say that in another 2 years, the people of Kenya will know that President William Ruto and his government were right. And we are not scared. We are not intimidated, because we are in leadership to make hard decisions for the benefit of the country. We are also not cowards. Sisi si watu ya kushitishwa kidogo na kushtuliwa. Nimeona ati demands, ati amepeana demands. Sasa unapeana demands ukiwa nani? Wewe umechaguliwa na nani? Wewe ni nani kwa Kenya? Si ungoje 2027 you come and persuade these people to give you an opportunity. Wewe ulikuwa kwa serikali ya Uhuru Kenyatta, ulikuwa advisor, ungechangia hiyo maneno nasema. You did nothing. You left us a country that is torn apart. You destroyed the Jubilee agenda completely. You stopped housing. You stopped universal health care. You took us into useless ventures like BBI. You had the opportunity to do those things you are saying. Can you sit back and watch how governance is done? And then along the way utasema mambo yako. So niambie hao watu ya upinzani mpige kelele. Sisi we are focused. We have a manifesto. We have a plan. We have an arrangement with the people of Kenya. Kama hao watu ya upinzani mngekuja hapa kwa kahawa, mtuambie vile tutatengeneza kahawa. Sasa hata mkivaa sufuria kwa kichwa, how will it sort out our issues in this country? How? And I want to thank the people of this region walikataa hiyo maneno. Na hawezi kubali kwa sababu sisi ni watu pia tuko na heshima. Sasa mzee kama huyu wetu Kiraito Murugi tukimuona na sufuria kwa kichwa tutasema nini? Sisi tutaibika sana kama jamii. So pia nataka nipongeze viongozi kwa kuchunga heshima yetu. Even the Kamba community ya Hosea walikataa hiyo maneno. In fact, this whole thing is about one region only. People who follow a leader blindly without knowing where he is taking them. Wamefuata miaka 30, wamekwama. Sasa wanaambiwa vaa sufuria kwa kichwa, wanavaa.